So welcome to another episode of Vlogmas. Welcome to Vlogmas, part.
I don't know what day this is going to be.
Okay, well, welcome to another episode of Vlogmas. This one is featuring myself. My name's Nick. I'm a friend, and I've meant to have done this for a while, but haven't been able to. Isn't that right?
No.
Whoops. But I'm here now, and so just in time for Christmas, we thought we'd do. It's a spooky one, and it's kind of a late Halloween tag video. Is that fair?
Yeah, let's call it that.
So what we're doing is we're reacting to spooky stories that we found on the internet because G is kind of... Is superstitious a fair assessment?
Assessment?
A fair assessment of you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm less so, but we'll see if today and the stories of Reddit can convince me to believe in the supernatural, etc. So it's going to be scary. So a little warning there: this vlog is not for the faint-hearted. So please, there's a little button in the corner called pause. So you want to press pause and leave the room and then come back after. Doesn't make any sense because if they just pause it won't go anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, well just close. There's a little X button in the corner, so just press that, and that will close your window. So what's the first story?
Oh god, now I've got to find it.
In the meantime, shall I do the advent calendar thing?
Yes, let's do the advent calendar.
So, explain the advent calendar idea.
Well, it's Vlogmas.
So it's just the Vlogmas advent calendar.
Yeah.
So everyone who comes on opens a window.
Yeah.
And it's the 17th today, so I get to open number 17.
Yeah, thanks for giving the date to...
Well, just to prove it.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go. This will freak me out.
Lovely. Oh, nearly ate the light there.
Yeah, I did.
Climb that as health and safety. Let's put that there.
You gotta read the thing.
Okay. It just says ho ho ho. No?
Oh.
Ho ho ho.
That's a bit disappointing. Normally it says a thing.
Never mind. We've got plenty to say today, so I won't worry too much. So, I think you should put some spooky music like in post-production at this bit, you know? So I'll go, so, and then it gets spooky.
So add it in post.
They're just like there.
Okay. So this person was studying in India, and they were in like a residential school.
Right.
And so it had 4 floors. The first floor being the nurse's office, the second being where the boys slept, third being the girls, and the fourth where the teachers slept.
Yeah.
And there was usually like wardens on the same floor and all that stuff. And it was, you know, like in orphan sort of films.
This is my favourite genre.
And they've got like that. I don't know how to describe it. So it's like a line of beds.
Yeah.
And there's like the alleyway in between this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's basically set like that. They're just setting the scene here.
They're asking for spookiness with a setup like that.
Yeah, they really are. Like, okay. So they all came back into the room at about 8 and went to sleep. Because, like, you know, stuff.
Okay.
I forgot what it's called.
You're a storytelling genius.
Yeah. Roll calling and stuff like that.
Okay.
That sort of shit. Anyway, so about midnight, they found themselves suddenly awake with their eyes open and adrenaline rushing. Okay. And the guy who sat next to this person has like a watch that he has next to his pillow.
Yeah.
So this person just like looks over and checks the time, and it was like 12:30. And then just as they were checking the time, they had like this low growl and like felt something touch their head, because they would sleep with their heads with the alleyway behind them. Sort of thing.
So like something was
walked
implicitly
past. Yeah.
Something growled.
Yeah.
Was it a dog walking on its hind legs sleepwalking? It could have been.
I don't think it was.
Okay, well carry on.
And then so this person pretended to be asleep because obviously like if something touched your head in the middle of the night, you'd be there like.
Your first reaction is to kind of freeze up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
like they kept their eyes slightly open just to see what was going on. And when it reached the end of the aisle, it turned back round and continued to like keep going up and down. Apparently, it was like a white, tall apparition.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That really creeped me out.
Right. They just turned around and says, "Oh, it's a white tall apparition." Of course it is.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
You know, standard, right? And eventually, this person fell back asleep, like, because.
I wouldn't go to sleep after that. I wouldn't go, well, I've got to be up at 7, so...
Yeah, but like, it was just repeatedly happening, so
right.
you get used to it.
It's like a fly in the room.
Yeah.
But yeah,
just sleep. It'll be fine.
Right.
That same night, they woke up again, and it was about 2:30 this time, and they would apparently get up at like 4:30 to like brush their teeth and stuff and get ready.
Right.
So they were kind of relieved because, like, 2 hours to go, nothing could happen now. Then they realised they needed to pee.
Oh, that's... Never have a drink before you go to sleep, because you might be haunted and then have to get up and experience it. Just saying.
So, obviously, because of what happened, they were too scared to go alone.
Right.
So they woke up the person next to them, and they went to the toilet together.
Okay. Hang on. So how did they explain that to the person they woke up?
I think they were just like,
excuse me, there is actually a ghost in this. So could you come up with yeah, sure, no worries.
I'm still like, you're on your own. Good night.
I'm alright actually. I'm gonna sleep in for a bit.
Anyway, so like, apparently in the bathroom the toilet light switches are broken and stuff. Okay. So you have to. It's like just loads of open wires and stuff, so easily to get electrocuted and stuff.
Yeah.
So that happened to this person.
They got electrocuted.
Yeah. And so where is it? And when they were getting shocked, they saw like this face.
Yeah.
And with black eyes and no facial features. And again, it was completely white. I know.
So, okay, right, yeah. So it's the same thing that they saw strolling up and down. Bloody hell.
So then the friend who was with them thought it would be Mad Vance to do the same. So he electrocuted himself.
Mad Vance!
That's the bit I don't get. Why would you electrocute?
I just love the idea. It's this person petrified, and their mate was like just treating it as a laugh. Go sighing.
That would be me and you. I'd be like, oh my god, we're gonna die.
Well, that would be best. Oh man. You better hope we're not sharing a room on the London trip.
Yeah, that's never happening now. So where is it? So then, as obviously they peed, so they were heading back to the room, and like, have you ever got an urge to just look somewhere?
Well, I look behind you or something.
Yeah,
all the time. Yeah,
so
like, it's that weird kind of like.
Yeah. So they did that, but they looked at like the staircase that was nearby.
Right.
Because like the bathroom was obviously outside of the room, sort of thing. And they both saw a shadow move quickly up the stairs towards them. So they yeeted out of there.
They yeeted out of there. Didn't say that. So we yeeted out as fast as possible.
And then apparently they were talking about it, and a few of the seniors, obviously at the school, were like, "Yeah, this is a thing that happens." Like,
so they're like, "Yeah. You met Steve then, did you?"
Yeah. And it's like, why?
Right. And then, so is that the end of that?
Yeah. That's
okay, so let's do a section where we talk about possible rational explanations.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there could be a rational explanation for that at all?
No.
This white figure. Because you can, if it's a dark place, you can hallucinate things.
Yeah, but you can't hallucinate a thing touching you, can you?
You can, well, I don't know.
Repeatedly.
It's tricky. But then, obviously, the trouble with these things is that you can't tell how true they are, except from the internet. If that's true, though, I'd be well and truly spooked. I will say that.
Yeah.
I will say that. Sometime 2 years ago, I had some roommates that would tell me about seeing things physically move in their room in separate occasions. I didn't think much of it until my boyfriend at the time had brought up the same subject a couple of weeks later, and I'm a need to see it, believe it type of person.
So you?
Me. So I shrugged it off until I saw a set of game cases move into an upright position on the shelves. That's like a bombshell at the top. I didn't believe till the game cases incident.
The games.
That's when it all changed. Things started amping up shortly after. This is like interesting English. Things started amping up shortly after, and it really freaked out one of my roommates. They just broke the lease and left. This is more of a drama than anything.
Like, you're finding rubbish ones, I'm not gonna lie.
This entire time, my ex was studying traditional witchcraft, as you do, and was under the assumption it was a poltergeist. Once me and my roommate actually sat down to talk about what we're going to do, we heard a loud thud from the living room. You might have to turn that down a bit because I bet the microphone really picked that up, but I just thought it'd add to it. It was just us and my ex in the room. It turned out to be a heavy book that had fallen off a bookcase.
Nah, that's weird though.
Is it?
Right, because
little sidetrack.
Yeah, little sidetrack. Last year in my house, right? One of the people who I lived with, like we were all downstairs for ages. We come back upstairs like to go to bed and stuff, and all of his books were on the floor, and we were just like, okay, and we just accepted it.
How many books did he own? If it was just 2, that's not that spooky.
It was like
a whole shelf full.
It was like 4 or 5.
Oh, okay.
And they were thick books.
Yeah. I don't know, because I'm sure you're not lying. But I was like, how does that...
It just reminded me of it.
Yeah,
books,
it is weird. I've never experienced anything like that.
In my house.
That's true. Where was I? So it turned out to be a heavy book, and we figured this thing didn't take too kindly of us talking to get rid of it. So he promptly asked my ex for help. Never do that. Never ask your ex for anything.
I mean,
Goodness
were
me.
they still together at this point? Because like it's gone from my boyfriend.
Well, they keep referring to them that they broke up halfway through this episode.
Like...
So they just skipped over that bit. It's not relevant. It's not relevant. We broke up.
But it is relevant. I need to know why they broke up now.
No, we'll message them and ask. Okay, so they asked our ex for help, and he basically asked us to sweep out of our front door with this special broom of his. This is getting weirder. While reciting this passage from the Bible repeatedly. Imagine you're walking past a house, and there's just some mark verse 6 with a broom. They just think it's funny. They're the ones whose books fell off the shelf. Ah, okay. It goes on. After a few minutes of doing that, my roommate and I heard a very animalistic and loud snap. Let me guess, it's a bear on hind legs.
A white bear.
A white bear on his hind legs. Doing that, and my roommate had a very animalistic and loud snark from outside. We both looked at each other, and then at my dog sitting in my room just to make sure it wasn't her. It wasn't. When we stepped outside to see what it was, it could have been, we noticed, that doesn't really make sense. When we stepped outside to see what it could have been, we noticed our neighbour's heavy Christmas yard decorations were knocked over, despite it being a windless night. Spooky. So this is a Christmassy one, this one. Me and my roommate still live here, and it's been quiet since then, but that whole ordeal really made me believe in poltergeist. Only one, though.
Yeah,
just the one. And now I kind of view them as a paranormal pest, it says. Like pest. It says earlier it didn't like the talk of them sort of getting rid of it, and now they've just called it a pest.
Yeah,
that's
a bit rude. Like...
Seeing as they're attached to a variety of things. Bloody hell.
I'm not gonna lie, Dick. Your stories are really underwhelming.
These aren't my stories. These are the people who read it.
They're the ones you're picking.
I suggest you do one next.
Alright.
In this short intermission, while G finds another one. If you have any paranormal stories yourself, please leave them in the comments, and hopefully we'll make a video to follow up. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, alright. I've never read this one before.
Okay, alright.
Ooh, spooky. Okay, so they moved into like a new house, and they think they had someone.
They've always moved into a new house, haven't they?
Oh yeah, because you're not really gonna get a sudden ghost in an old house, are you? You lived there for 11 years, then boom, there's a ghost. That's
you could have told me earlier there was a ghost. God damn it! Yeah, sorry, do continue.
There's actually a state where they have to list if a house is haunted or not. I don't remember what state it is.
Really?
Yeah.
What? That's mad.
Oh, where is it? I think it was like, I don't know where it is. But they have to list if a house is haunted or not when selling it. Why would you buy a haunted house?
I don't know. Yeah, someone says, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's well within the price range, but it's haunted. But the books won't stay on the shelves, they say.
Might be a demon in the basement,
Might be a demon.
Look at this view.
Hopefully the view's not ruined by a brick being thrown at the window by the demon. Anyway, carry on.
Okay, so the first thing that happened to them in this house, they were home alone, they were home alone and they were walking from the kitchen to the living room and thought they could hear someone walking behind them. And like at that point, they just brushed it off just because they thought new house, you know.
Yeah.
Just imagine.
You're not used to it,
yeah.
obviously. Yeah.
And then they were like, another time they were listening to music on the stereo with like the volume only at halfway.
Okay.
They were cooking in the kitchen, and then suddenly the music just got real loud. And when they went to check it, like the volume was turned up all the way. That actually did scare me then. Oh my god.
What is going on? That is insane. Didn't you?
Okay, so they have a radio on the table next to the bed in their room, and we just like listen to it all day and stuff. Wow, this is old. They were playing cassettes on it.
How old's the story then?
I don't know. Like
this has got to be from the 90s or something.
Yeah. And one day they were just in there on their bed and stuff, and they were just laying there for a few minutes, but the radio just turned itself off.
Right.
See, that would have been a good time to do fairy lights, but you know.
Sorry.
And then like
maybe you can splice it into that bit instead. I don't know.
No, I'm not doing that. Okay. And then they just left the room and freaked out a bit.
As you would.
Understandable, you know.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, it could have been like a power cut or something.
No, because only the radio went off.
I mean, like in the plug.
Oh, perhaps, yeah.
You know,
yeah, you don't immediately, if something turns off by itself, you don't jump to, oh, this house must be haunted.
It's haunted, yeah. Something else must have happened before that for them to freak out.
That's what you would have thought.
Yeah. And then another time they were on the computer next to the kitchen, and like no one was near them, and every light in the kitchen just turned on.
Okay.
Which is a bit weird.
Right, yeah.
At night they would watch movies either on a DVD player or VCR.
VCR, this is an old story. Blimey.
And that would turn itself off as well. First,
I like how we're more spooked by the fact there's a VCR in the room rather than what's happening.
I mean, VCR is kind of scary. Like, you know when they go to that fuzzy bit?
Ooh, would not want that to happen. Static!
I actually hate static, it scares me.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
There's that horror film where like stuff happens in the static.
What horror film
I don't remember what it is. I think it's The Ring.
The Ring, yeah. But that's not the static that does that.
It starts with static though. So that I can't look at static because it makes me think of The Ring. I get really freaked out.
To the makers of The Ring, you've ruined static for her. Why have you done that? Static. Thanks. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so the VCR would turn itself off.
That's just VCRs though, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. And then obviously they would turn it back on, and then it would just turn off again.
Right.
So then they were like, oh, VCR must just be broken, I'll shove a DVD on them. And then the DVD did it, like, itself.
I did predict that.
Yeah. Wow. Another time they had, like, a heavy cast iron skillet. What's a skillet?
It's like a pan.
Oh, yeah. On top of it, on like one of the top shelves in the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
And it was really heavy, and it was just like in the middle of the shelf.
Yeah.
And they hadn't used it in ages. So.
Yeah.
And one night they were all in the living room, and they hear like a loud crash in the kitchen, and then boom, the skillet's on the floor.
Oh, of course it is. A poltergeist can never resist a cast iron skillet. We shall wait.
Yeah, so it just fell, you know how it is.
Yeah.
And then this is just going all over the place. When they first moved into the house again, she had like a little sister, and she was basically a newborn at the time, and she would wake up in like the middle of the night and just absolutely screaming, face down, like something was wrong.
Okay.
And like she said, it wasn't a like normal cry; it was a proper screamy cry.
Yeah.
So then her mother walked through the house with holy water, frankincense, and myrrh. Again, Christmas.
Yeah, like that.
And it never happened again, apparently.
Damn.
Like the screaming.
Yeah.
And then one night she was trying to sleep, and she could hear someone walking around in a room, and she got her mum to come in, and they prayed, and it never happened again. And then
it's always Jesus who shows up and saves the day, isn't it? Thanks, Jesus.
Occasionally she had a fan on, it would turn itself like to a different speed. Oh
Jeez.
Yeah.
Alright, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
I think we can probably top people of Reddit, and we do like a part 2 to this, but it's like our own story.
Ooh.
Should we do that?
Yeah, let's do that.
So should we say come back in part 2?
Part 2.
And we'll spook each other.
Spook.
With stories from our lives. Don't go anywhere.
Why?